Join me as I try to summon a demon by making a real invitation. Will they actually respond? I started with, "Dear Demon." It felt weird to even write that down, like scratching something forbidden onto the page. Here I was trying to get in touch with some creature from who knows where. I stopped and read it over. It felt wrong, almost like I was being disrespectful to something. Then I remembered some old books I'd read. They all said you gotta show respect even when dealing with things you don't understand. I took a big breath and kept going. I'm not trying to boss you around or anything, but I really want to get what you are about. I want to see stuff that's usually hidden, touch things no one can touch, and hear the secrets of your world. As I wrote, my hand felt steadier. It was like the words were finding their way onto the paper all by themselves. The room started getting colder, like the air was waiting to see what I'd do next. "If you come," I wrote, "I'll give you a safe space, a place where you can talk without worrying about getting kicked out or hurt." I waited again. This was a huge thing to offer. A cold shiver went down my back, but I didn't look up. "Come on, demon," I finished. "Let's talk, just to learn stuff and because I'm curious." As soon as I wrote that last line, I felt something change in the room. At first, it was hardly anything, just a tingle in the air. The candles started to flicker like crazy, and the shadows seemed to get darker, reaching out toward the paper. I put the cap back on the ink and put the pen down. My heart was pounding. The invitation was out there. Now all I could do was wait. Every minute felt like forever as I waited for something to happen. The room felt like it was filling up with energy, like a storm getting ready to explode. But would the demon show up? Or was I just some idiot playing with stuff I didn't understand? I stood up from the desk I'd made. The candlelight made my face look all spooky as I looked around the room I'd set up. I'd drawn a circle on the floor with old symbols I'd found. Each one was meant to protect me. The air felt heavy, like something was pushing down on everything. The shadows were moving on their own, twisting into shapes in the corners of my eyes. I blinked, and I could have sworn I saw glowing eyes looking back at me from the dark. I felt a mix of excitement and fear. Was this really happening? Was the demon already here? All of a sudden, I heard a sound, a low growl that seemed to be coming from everywhere at once. It got louder, filling the room with this horrible feeling that shook everything. The candles flickered like crazy, and the shadows danced wildly as the growl got louder and louder. Then everything went silent. The only thing I could hear was my own heart pounding. I took a step forward, looking into the shadows. The candles calmed down, and the shadows went back to their corners, like they were disappointed. Then a figure started to appear inside the circle, like it was being formed out of the air itself. It became clearer every second, turning into something that was hard to describe. Part animal, part human, all scary. Its eyes were burning like hot coals, staring right at me, and it smirked. It was here, and now I'd find out if my invitation had worked. I reached for the silver knife at my side. It was supposed to protect me, something that had been passed down in my family. People said it was made during some super rare eclipse and it could keep evil spirits away. But as I grabbed it, I hesitated. Would I have to fight right away, or could I try to talk to this thing first? The demon moved closer. Its movements were so smooth, it was unsettling. It was dressed in a torn cloak that seemed to change color with every step, like it was made of shadows. The smell of sulfur got stronger, burning my nose and eyes. But I stood my ground, my heart pounding. "You called?" it said, its voice like rocks grinding together. "But what do you really want from this talk?" The sarcasm in its voice made me shiver. "I'm not someone you can just make deals with, human. You might regret being so curious." The demon's eyes narrowed, and I could see ancient knowledge and evil hidden inside them. I took a deep breath, trying not to freak out. "I want to understand," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "I want to know what you are and what you want from this world." The demon smirked, showing sharp teeth. "Understand," it repeated, like the word was funny. "Fine. But be careful. Knowing things can hurt you." We started talking, a careful dance of words. I tried to learn about the demon's world without getting tricked. Every question was answered with a riddle and a threat, and the room felt tighter with every exchange. The demon told me about other worlds, about wars and deals with humans that everyone had forgotten. It talked about desires and fears, and about how much power costs. As the night went on, the demon got restless and impatient. It was obvious it wasn't used to being questioned by someone like me. I had to be careful. One wrong move could ruin everything. With one last question, I hoped to find out what I really wanted to know. "What do you want from me?" I asked, holding the knife tightly, ready for whatever happened next. The demon smiled coldly. "Only what you're willing to give," it said, and then snapped its fingers, and the room went dark. The only light was from the candles, now flickering as the demon's shadow grew larger, reaching toward me. I realized then that this wasn't just a meeting. I was negotiating with evil itself, and I started to wonder if I'd offered way too much. The demon's eyes stayed locked on mine, burning brighter. "Your soul," it said, the words echoing in the room. "It's a small price for what you want to know." I started to panic, but I couldn't show it. I'd read the stories, the legends, and the warnings of people who had done this before. "My soul isn't for sale," I replied, trying to sound strong. "But maybe I have something else you want?" The demon smiled wickedly, like it had been waiting for me to say that. "Ah, a deal," it said, the amusement in its voice making me shiver. "All right, what do you care about most, human?" The room got colder, and the shadows seemed to close in. I thought of my family, my work, my life. What could I offer this thing, and would the cost of its knowledge be worth it? Thinking fast, I offered something I hoped the demon wouldn't expect. "I'll give you a story," I said. "A story about humans, about love and loss, about hope when things look bad. A story that once I tell it will be forgotten by everyone but you. Would that be enough?" The demon waited, thinking. The silence was deafening, and I could feel it staring at me, judging my offer. "A story," it murmured, the flames in its eyes flickering with interest. "An interesting offer. But why would I want that?" "Because," I said a little desperately, "stories are what souls are made of. They have power. And in your world of darkness, maybe a little light from the human world would be worth a lot." The demon leaned closer, its breath hot against my face. "Okay," it hissed, "but listen to me. I won't be tricked by lies. Your story has to be real, from the deepest part of you. If it's not, you'll pay a lot more than just your soul." The candles burned brighter, like they were waiting for me to start. I took a deep breath, getting ready. And then I started to tell a story, one that was very personal, one that I'd never told anyone else. The demon listened closely, never taking its eyes off me. As I talked about love and loss, about victories and tragedies, I could feel something change inside it. The evil in its eyes softened, and for a moment, it almost seemed human. When I finished the story, the demon didn't say anything. The air was still and the shadows went back to their corners. "Your story is true," it said quietly, "and for that, I'll give you the knowledge you want." The demon stepped back, letting the candlelight shine on it. "But remember, human," it warned, "once you know the truth, you can't unknow it. Use what I've told you carefully. Understanding comes with responsibility." With a swirl of its cloak, the demon disappeared, leaving me alone in the room. The candles calmed down, and the cold air faded away. I looked at the invitation, lying on the floor, the ink all gone. The meeting was over, but the story had just begun. The knowledge I'd gained was both exciting and scary. I knew I could never tell anyone everything I'd learned. It was a secret I'd have to keep, something that would change everything I did from now on. But as I left the room and went back into my quiet home, the demon's words stayed with me. I'd invited darkness into my life, and in return, I'd given it a piece of my soul. It was a deal I'd never forget, and one that would stay with me for the rest of my days.